Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to Cilinix Crypto and welcome to this new video. A little bit of a special video this weekend. I mean, obviously there's not a lot of price action right now in the market, so I wanted to do a little bit more of a, I guess, long-term video, but also a little bit more of an educational video, because we will talk about why I personally think that Bitcoin has formed a local bottom. I've said that for the last week. So far, we've actually had some bullish momentum already. I do want to stress that I think we have a local bottom. If you look at the higher time frames, I think it's quite likely that probably in 2026 we are going to see lower prices, but a local bottom can actually sustain for multiple months, and therefore it's critical to be able to know when a bottom is forming. And it's also critical to know that why I personally at this point of time think that a bottom has formed. Then you know those reasons, and if anything changes with those reasons, first of all, I will keep you updated on that. But second of all, you can keep an eye on it yourself as well. And that will influence the short-term and the medium-term price action of Bitcoin. So that is what we'll do this weekend. I want to wish you all a great weekend, of course, but I thought it was quite valuable. So let's get right into it. It might put a little bit less viewers, but if you take in this information correctly, you will be able to spot bottoms in the future as well. So very valuable. But for now, let's get right into it. So. Having all of that out of the way, let's get to the 5 reasons why I personally think that Bitcoin at this point of time has formed a local bottom and can rally up higher. First thing we will talk about, and I hope I will be able to zoom in enough to show you all of these, is funding. Okay, funding rate has to do with futures, and you can see that right here. I'm going to try to make it a little bit bigger for all of you. There you go. This is the funding, and I want to drag this up. There we go, and do something like this. Like this, and that's better. So what you can see is that Bitcoin, since the 24th of November, so earlier this week, has flashed negative funding. Now what that means, it has to do with futures. What that basically means is that the proportion between longs and shorts is starting to weigh more towards the shorts, which is historically usually a bottom signal. Now this is the 1 hour time frame. We are going to zoom out a little bit to the daily time frame. There it will look like we are barely forming or that we barely have negative funding rates. That is because it is the daily average, and there it always looks a little bit less. But over the hours, we have negative funding rates quite often. For Ethereum, a little bit less. For other coins such as Solana, a little bit more. Solana actually has very negative funding rates. But you can see historically, every time we form negative funding rates, that is at least a local bottom. The last time was the 18th of October. That was right here. I hope you can see that. Yeah, I think you can. Can I have a different cursor maybe, so to make it a little bit more peak? Yeah, I mean, no, that's actually not better. Let's just use the arrow right here, so you can see it a little bit better. But you can see the last time was right here, the 10th of October, 18th of October, but then the time before that was the 25th of June. Back then it was the bottom. Time before that it was May. You can see we got bullish momentum afterwards. Time before that was the 9th of March. That was a local bottom as well. So you can see negative funding rates are just amazing. Time before that was September 2024, also rallied afterwards. So negative funding rates matter, they're important, and they're bullish. That's reason number 1. Let's get on to reason number 2. That's order book depth. Now, the order book depth, at this point of time, you can see that right here, right? So we have, it's the same platform that we use, which by the way is Kiyotaka AI. But you can see the order book depth right here, and this red block that we see at the bottom is a good sign. That's what you want to see. Now I must say with point 2 that this is not the strongest point, okay? Because yes, we have some good order book depth, as you can see right here. But ultimately, and you can see it was like when it's super green right here, price fell. When it was super green right here, price fell. Like you want it to be red, but you can see that it's not super deep, right? You want it to be deep, like we saw the 10th of September. Back then then we actually got some bullish momentum, or right here at the end of September, we got bullish momentum. So it has turned to the right side. That is positive. We want it to increase a little bit more, right? So this is number 2. Order book depth, it's in the right place. It's at the right side where we want it to have it. We would prefer it to be a little bit deeper, okay? But that is something I'll keep you updated on. And for now, fundamentally, technically, it is bullish and it is indicating a local bottom. Now, third of all, and this is very recent, yesterday we got a Coinbase Bitcoin premium, okay? Which means that the price of Bitcoin on Coinbase is trading higher than other exchanges, which again, historically is a good sign. You can see that right here. It's green. It's the first time it's been green since November. If you go back in time to the 12-hour right here and you take a look at, okay, when it turned green, because now it turned green, what happened to the price? Bullish momentum. What happened to the price when it turned red? The couple of times right here in July, for example, price fell down. Price is the yellow line, and here you can see it's red. Then you have a Coinbase Bitcoin discount, not a Coinbase Bitcoin premium. And you can see a couple of times when it actually turned into a discount, it was always bearish for the price. Well, if you take a look at the last couple of times that it got into a premium, it at least was a bottom, okay? And at least we got some bullish momentum. Right here, for example, April 2025, February 2025, it secured some sort of a bottom, but also November 2024, it started the entire uptrend that we had last year at the end of the year, which was amazing. So now, again, it has turned into a premium. It has barely turned into a premium, as you can see. I would love it to get into a premium for a longer period of time. But again, as it stands right now, it is a sign of a bottom forming and us rallying up higher. Fourth has to do with order flow, okay? If we take a look at order flow for Bitcoin, there's two major things that I want to show you, two major things that I think are important. First of all, the leverage at this point of time in the market is not high. You can see the open interest right here. If you compare the price, we'll actually get into the 4-hour time frame right here. I think you'll still be able to see it. If you take a look at the price, that's the upper pane right here. You can see the price is moving up. Open interest, aka leverage, is moving down, which is a great sign, okay? You don't want a lot of leverage when you're forming a bottom. You do want to get some more open interest. You do want to get some more leverage when we start to rally, okay? So I'm not telling you that we're going to get a massive rally. I'm telling you I think we're going to find a local bottom. I think Bitcoin can actually rally higher a little bit later. But this is great stuff, and you can also see if you take a look at the CVD, which is this orange line that I will grab right here, and that we actually, for a brief period of time after hitting 81 and 84,000, we had the CVD making lower lows right here, while the price was making higher lows. Now, what that is absorption. That can be multiple things, can also be short covering, but ultimately that's bullish. That means that futures are selling off, but spot, for whatever reason, like I said, it could be multiple things, is buying up. So that is, in terms of order flow, low leverage, absorption, those are both good things, and those are both securing or at least supporting a local bottom for Bitcoin. And then the fifth point is something I talk about a huge amount of time, and it's fundamentals. We've had some fundamental recovery or fundamental bullish development in terms of the volatility index, which has decreased quite significantly since last week Friday. That's good. That's less unrest. That's for multiple reasons, but ultimately this dropping down is good. There are some liquidity problems still in the United States that can turn into a problem. At this point of time, it is not, but that is something I am keeping you updated on in every middle of the day market update. So make sure to tune into those if you want to be updated on that. Then there's two more things. Quantitative tightening is ending in December, so that is good for liquidity, right? So that's actually in anticipation for that. The liquidity issues that we see right now might not matter that much. And last but not least, it is actually quite likely that we are going to get a interest rate cut in December. At this point of time, the probability of getting that is sitting at 86.4%, which is also bullish when it comes to monetary policy and therefore fundamentals. That's reason number 5. Okay, so therefore, taking a look at Bitcoin, I think we have formed a local bottom, which so far has been correct. I think we can rally up a little bit higher as well. We are not getting a lot of signals right now of the bullish momentum being over. My main two price targets, short term for now, are 96,000 and 100,000. And then it is time to again judge, okay, can we rally up higher, or are we perhaps going to drop back down again? Those are my thoughts. Thank you for watching, everybody. Hopefully it helps a little bit, and make sure to ask me down in the comments if you have any questions. Make sure to join the Telegram or the Discord if you have any questions. I'm always open for that, and if you want to learn how to analyze like this yourself, consider joining our Profitable Signal group, in which you also get sent a trading guide, you get my personal mentorship, and you get my personally made indicators, such as this momentum indicator right here, which also indicated the bottom. But that's purely optional, only if you want it. Links will be down in the description. But that's it for now. Have a great weekend, everybody, of course. Take care and bye.